Hello and welcome to the gojenn podcast videocast, where I'm gojenn, your hostess, and I'm going to talk mainly about crochet with some knitting, maybe thrown in, finished objects, works in progress. But the main topic today is going to be 5 ways that you can be crafty when you have no mojo. Okay, first, you may notice I'm modeling a lovely hat. This is the lattice hat pattern, crochet. Very easy, but look at the bang for your buck you get. My lighting situation has changed, so I'm going to have to work on that because I sat down to do the video and I blew a bulb and couldn't find any more bulbs. Blah, blah. You don't care. Anyway, this is my 11th hat that I have made for my owl for the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet Cup on Ravelry. I have one more left, and it is the Barley hat, which is a knit hat. I have crocheted 11 hats, and I'm still working on the Barley hat, which is knit. I have gotten to the point where I'm going to start the decreases for the crayon. Sorry, can you see? I'm not in love with this project because I've messed it up so much. This right here, it was a fix. I thought I had fixed it, but I didn't, and it just makes me sad because it's supposed to be a nice hat. And if I hadn't screwed it up so much with my poor knitting and my even poorer knitting skills, I just figured this hat's going to have to be mine because I couldn't give it to anybody knowing all of the mistakes and boo-boos and screw-ups in it. So it's going to be my hat, and I figure, okay, this is what I think, that if I keep my head moving fast enough, I'm going to have to wear it somewhere that there's music. Nobody will see the boo-boos. It's like shaving your legs, polishing your toenails. If you keep them moving, nobody can focus enough to go, what the heck is that? So that's what I'm going to do. Keep it moving. See? And I'll try to always put the boo-boo to the back so that the person in line behind me at whatever event I'm doing will see it. I don't care. But all I do have left to do is the crown. I've got to set up the decreases. I think it decreases in 6 sections up to the peak. So I'll just hopefully get that done. Gee, this week I'm running out of time. So I didn't podcast last week because we were at the beach camping. We had a wonderful time, even though it did rain one solid day, all day Sunday. I still had a good time. Let's see, what else have I been working on? And it's my fallback that I always work on. Sock yarn blanket squares. And these are 2 that I have made. Very, you can't tell, but these are from some mini skeins I think I got in a swap. I don't have any clue what they are, but they have a little metallic shimmer to them. Nothing I would ever choose, but they're very pretty. And I have 2 more. This one. This was because I had a teeny little mini skein of this red, white, and blue that's in the middle. So I knew it wasn't big enough to make a regular square, so I just finished it off with some close to red, almost red, pretty dark orange, and made a square of it. And my blanket, once I put it together, is going to be so full of color. That's not going to make any difference. And if it does, it'll be making it to somebody else, and that's not my problem. I like it, This is, I don't know. Yeah, that's showing up pretty good. It's beautiful browns, rust, a golden, beautiful square. This is now this is something I wouldn't mind a shawl or something with this. Definitely a hat. Okay, so that is the extent of my crafting for the past 2 weeks. And before I go any further, I wanted to tell you about my book reading. Last time I talked to you, I was in the midst of The Passage by Justin Cronin, C-R-O-N-I-N. Loved it. I finished it Friday, yesterday, because today is Saturday, November, I'm sorry, I don't know, 15, 16, 13, 12, something like that. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. Suffice it to say, I never know my dates. I don't know what today is. So now, after The Passage by Justin Cronin, the next book in the series is The 12. So I've got that, and I'm going to be listening to that. That's my next book to listen to. I'm taking just a little breather after The Passage. It was like 23 hours of an Audible book, which is really long. Let me check my notes. Yes, 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 and yes. So, I wanted to talk to you today, my main topic, being 5 ways that you can be crafty with no mojo at all. Why would you ever not have mojo, you may ask? Maybe you have a friend in the hospital. Maybe you're sitting in the hospital. You want to do something with your hands, because if not, you're just going to drive yourself crazy. So what can you do while you're waiting? You don't want to have a project that requires concentration, because if the doctor comes in to tell you something, you may drop everything and there you go. You don't want it to be something that has to be perfect in that kind of case. Maybe you have been ill, and if you've had the flu or something really cruddy where you just all you could do was keep breathing until you felt better, you don't want to jump right in with a knit lace project or a crochet lace project or something that is fiddly and requires concentration. You need to ease yourself back in to crafting. Maybe you're on a long car trip. Some people can read. Some people can crochet and knit like crazy while they're the passenger. I don't recommend this if you're the driver. Okay. But anyway, if you're the passenger, you may want to do something with your hands to get a feeling of accomplishment without it being, something that's going to make you car sick, because you don't want to get car sick. Right? Right. That's a miserable feeling. Let's see. And another time that you may have no mojo is when you have just finished a huge project that has taken months, that has required 110% of your concentration. You may just want to say, the heck with it, I don't want to think about another project, but you maybe want to keep your hands busy. That's the way it is for me. I may not have the ability to concentrate, but I want to keep my hands busy, feel like I'm accomplishing something, even if I'm not. So here are 5 ways. If you have no mojo for any of those reasons or others, here's 5 ways that you can be crafty with no mojo. First is check Ravelry. Go online. The time that you spend on Ravelry counts as crafting if you have no mojo. Search for patterns. Search for yarns. Look at patterns that are trending now, new patterns that maybe you haven't seen before. Go on forums, look to see what other people are doing. How do these projects make you feel? Is that something that you go, oh wow, I've got the perfect yarn for that? Or, huh, ain't no way you'd make me ever do that. That's what I usually say. It's like, nah, no, not me. But I'm always happy to see the beautiful color work, stranded, oh, all these beautiful things that people are able to do. That makes me feel good about myself for being a crafter. Maybe I'm not making the super duper, all the color work yoke sweaters, that's okay. But I'm a person who crafts, so I have something in common with these people. Maybe you'll find a pattern that makes you feel like, oh, okay, I want to make that. Maybe you'll get your mojo back. Say you're on that long car trip. What can you do? If you don't want to get car sick, you can't knit, you can't crochet, you can't look at Ravelry going down the road. That'll make you ill too, I know. You can wind yarn. If you have a good, nice skein of yarn that has come in a hank or a skein wound, then you can take it and wrap it around, unfurl it, untwist it, put it around your knees, and slowly and carefully wind it into a ball that you can use. If you want to wind it into a center pull ball, there's tons of videos that show you how to do that. That's what I try to always do. If you want to do anything carefully and slowly, just take your time. Just wind slowly. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful, because it's not going to be like one of those skeins that's wound on a winder. Okay, so give that up. You can you can have your hands on the yarn. You can accomplish something. And for a big skein of yarn that is in a skein or a hank, it will take you quite a while to wind it. On our last camping trip, I took a day that I was feeling pretty social, and so I was trying to carry on a conversation. I knew I couldn't put my attention to crocheting, so I wound a skein of yarn into a ball, and that made me feel, wow, look what I did when I wasn't even trying. Okay, so 1 is go to Ravelry, spend some time on Ravelry. 2, wind a skein of yarn. It just gives you some joy because it has to be done. It's a dirty job that has to be done. Make it as enjoyable as possible. Okay. Do something that is comforting to you. If it's maybe a time when you are being social, maybe it's when you're waiting in the hospital, maybe you've just lost someone that was close to you, and all you really feel like you can do is sit. I understand. Get some inexpensive yarn, not your best stuff by any means, and just do something comforting. I think all of us have a project that is pretty comforting to us. For crocheters, maybe the granny square, because that's a muscle memory. I think we don't even know what we're doing when we make a granny square. If you're a knitter who knits hats, just cast on how many you need for the hat and knit around and around and around. Same way with a sock, if you're a sock knitter. These are the kind of projects that if you screw them up, too bad. You can always rip it out later and say, yeah, this is when I was worried about so-and-so, or this is when such and such was happening. So that's the kind of thing that you can do then. Let me see what else is on my list. Go through your stash. If you're at home and you don't feel like you have the concentration power to do something, go through your stash. go through your works in progress and decide, you know, I'm not going to finish this. Let me take the needles out. Let me take the hook out, put it back with my free hooks and needles, and just frog this and rewind that yarn back up until something makes you happy. You know, you're likely to find hooks that you didn't know where they were, or knitting needles. You go, oh yeah, this is where that set of circulars is. That's always good. And maybe while you're going through them, you'll say, oh, I loved working on this. I think I can do this now. So it will give you some ideas of what you may want to do next. And the last thing that I was going to suggest is that you may want to just sit down with pencil and paper and plan some projects. If it's anywhere from July on to the end of the year, you can plan some holiday crafting. Who do you have on your list this year? Is there someone that you want to show how much you love them by crafting them a special item? Or maybe there is someone very special to you that you want to make something a special project. Then go ahead, look at Ravelry, choose a special project. Because for me, I know it's not for everybody. I'm not saying that it is. But for me, the peace and calm that I get when I craft, specifically when I crochet, and I'm able, if I'm making something for a special person, I can think about how much I love them. Think about happy times that we've had together, how we've gotten through hard times. And it's okay if they don't love it as much as I do. It's okay. My daughter is not, my older daughter is not that keen on crochet things or knitted things, but I've gotten a whole lot better about not having my needs worked up into the project. My need is to do something to give, okay? And not to see her go, wow, this is the best, you know, whatever I've ever seen in my life. Let go of that. That's not going to happen probably. You just get the joy from loving the person and making something that you can give them. So those were my 5 ways that you can do some crafting when you have no mojo. You have no mojo. So go to Ravelry, look at the projects, look at what are new patterns. Maybe that'll make you feel good. Do some comfort crafting like the granny squares for crocheters. Clean out your stash or your works in progress. See if there's something that you can get rid of. Plan your projects ahead. And wind some yarn. So those are my suggestions for you. I hope if you have more, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, I hope you will give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe for more content like this. Knitting, crochet, who knows what else I will come across. So I appreciate you spending this time with me, and I hope to see you back next time. Until I do see you again, I wish you time filled with nothing but love and laughter.